Welcome in. We are
Welcome
live,
in.
officially live at the NBA Finals. And there's a guy walking by.
Bobby.
I don't know what's more exciting, the fact that Bobby Manning is out in San Francisco at the finals, or that Nick Gelso is making his first appearance in 7 years on the Garden Report.
See,
I am uncanceled.
Yes.
Nick is a big
Welcome
game
back.
player only. He only shows up for the big ones, and this is a big one. So here he is.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
This is
I
a
really
big
lucked
one.
out.
We're not going to call this a trial run. But we'll see. You'll if Nick returns, you'll know. If Nick doesn't return, you'll know why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So don't expect me to do anything crazy. I'm all set up on my best behavior tonight. I want to be, I want to be allowed.
Also,
So-
don't yell at us for anything Nick says about the Celtics.
That is true.
Or anything else.
So, for the unfortunate few of you that are on here to start the stream, I know a lot of people kind of trickle in a little bit later here. So before we get into some of our serious basketball related stuff, we're going to talk about really dumb things like, pickles and pizza and what's the scene like? We'll start with Bobby.
Scene setter.
Give us a scene setter. You're out there, and again, for everybody at home, it's media day, so you get everything and everybody talks, and that's kind of the big rollout here, and then it kind of turns
let me give
more
you
into
a full,
basketball. So yeah, give us the full report.
give me the full screen here. I'll show you inside the arena real
Yep,
quick and
here we
just
go.
everything that's
Yeah.
getting going right here. They
Oh,
got the whole
Yeah.
ESPN crew out setting up the stage. You got the
see
Celtics and
Stephen A.
Warriors branding everywhere, and that great court, Golden State out here, Chase Center, just a couple years old. I mean, a place that became illustrious. The allure around this team, even 3 years ago, was unstoppable, larger than life, dynasty. Obviously, there's a million different words you could use to describe it, and so that's what the Celtics are going up against out here. But it's changed. And John, we talked about this on Spaces yesterday. The allure is still there around this Warriors team, but things are much different. It's a younger group around the edges. Curry, Green, Clay, they're kind of in a new space in their careers. And the Celtics are the upstart. And there's a lot of comparisons between where the Warriors were in 2015 when they weren't even in this building yet. And the Draymond was remembering when he first got to the Warriors, handing out tickets for free, and where they were as a franchise back then. Where the Celtics are now, who have kind of hit that wall multiple times to get here, couldn't get over the hump, almost reached a point where this whole thing collapsed in the winter and it got broken up, and all the million different ways this could have gone. But they stayed together. It's a similar group that's been together since 2017, 2018-ish. You can even go back to 2014 in Marcus Smart's case. So I love all the parallels between these two groups. You think of what the Warriors have built here on a homegrown roster that's been developed, that stayed together. They had a coaching change too, Mark Jackson to Steve Kerr, and now the Celtics have made theirs, going from Brad Stevens to Ime Udoka, and you just wonder if they're at this moment where there's a passing of the torch from what the Warriors did for a decade to what the Celtics could potentially do for a decade here. But they got to win this one. You can't just come here and fall short and say, "Oh, geez, it's the Warriors." That's my big point going into this series. This
Bobby,
isn't the Kevin Durant Warriors. You can beat this team.
Yeah, Bobby, I'd take you off full screen, but Nick is just leaning back right now, and I don't think anybody wants to see that. So, yep, there he is. All right, here he is. He's back in the frame. That's
Nick.
pretty cool. I'll
Backstage.
defer to Nick here for first comments or first questions towards Bobby, because, like I said, he's our guest here. He's the originator of the Garden Report, the OG. And so here you are. You've got the young Padawan here, Bobby Manning, at the finals. You guys have
The
had
old steer and the young doe.
Yeah, man. Deer,
The
you look
young
like a deer in
buck.
headlights a little, Bobby.
Not doe.
He looks perfect to me.
He does look perfect. So you done Summer League. Obviously, this is way, 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 way bigger, but there is a networking side of the NBA Finals, I'd imagine. So any similarity at all?
Not yet. I'm sure it will get there. I actually didn't see all the big national faces out here for the media day. I'm sure they'll arrive tomorrow. Yeah, no, it was more the beat people, the Golden State side. Boston.
So was it intimate kind of?
Yeah, I'd say it was. I had a good conversation with Jalen.
Intimate, almost kind of sexy.
Any
Yeah.
cornet?
Oh, Luke Cornett was out
Speaking of
there
sexy.
getting his shots up, scrimmaging. The guys who aren't going to play in this finals, they made sure to get their shots up and get after each other tonight. The way the guys on the other side of the court, we talk about the 2 locker rooms last year. Remember they had the 2 separate locker rooms because of COVID? There's definitely 2 rooms on this team. And whether it's Fitz or Stauskas, Hauser's actually back out there now after he got hurt. Those guys, they scrimmage hard, and we actually got to see a lot of practice today, which was pretty cool for once.
Dude, I could ask you questions all day. It'd be from a fan perspective, so I'm gonna toss it to Jimmy so I don't sound like
Jimmy. Well, Bobby,
Yeah,
give us the stuff though. I mean, like what happened? Like Rob practice. Give us the news update first, and then we'll kind of get into the other stuff.
Yeah, everyone practiced. Marcus Smart, Ime Udoka said, is getting to a place where he's going to move past a lot of these injuries. So you could almost get to a point in the near future here where he's not even questionable, but he still is questionable going into game 1. Would be stunned if he didn't play. He was up getting active with everyone else. The big one's Rob, who continues to be questionable. Got a couple of days off after a game 7 where he didn't look right at all. And to start practice here, looked good, moving around, smiling, but very gingerly, very cautious, and not dunking, not doing any of the usual bursty things that we see from him. And you're almost in the spot where it's like 50-50 Rob, 50 good, 50 bad. Is he going to play? Is he not? He said today he's in a place where it's just sort of maintenance and pushing through it. So I don't think there'll be a game in this series where all of a sudden you see the knee soreness and he doesn't play. But you don't know what you're going to get game in and game out, quarter to quarter. As you said, John, play to play. Everything's changing based off how he reacts to that pain, how he lands after blocking a shot, throwing down a dunk. And it's the uneven foundation that the Celtics entered the series on is Rob's health. It's not in a great place. And he's just sort of pushing through. As something as I watched you say, Jimmy, last night, if this was the regular season, you don't think he would be out there at all.
No, I really don't. I mean, I think a lot of us would feel that way because of if you have a guy that's going to be 50-50 for the foreseeable future, you typically would just give him rest until that wasn't the case anymore. But in a must-win, this is it. This is what you play for in this series. So 50-50, you're going in there as the glass half empty, so to speak. So I fully expect to see him in this game, just to play in this game, obviously. And I would be stunned. And as I said yesterday, I don't think it's going to be a, Rob out knee soreness type of a series. At least I sure as heck hope not. So he's definitely that being said, everyone's going to be waiting to see the injury report on him tomorrow. But I'm glad to hear that Marcus Smart looks to be or sounds to be, going forward here.
Bobby, today yesterday maybe on Brian Robb's podcast, Winning Plays, Forsberg and him were kind of tossing around the idea of, do you rest Rob game 1? Because essentially he would have 10 days rest before game 2 if you did so.
Yeah, it'd be a week exactly, I think, actually, yeah. Sunday to Sunday.
Okay, 14 days. Or 7 days.
7 days.
That's too blah, blah, blah. You know what I meant. I'm rusty.
None of us are good at math.
No, especially me.
You've never fit more into the show than you do now.
Yeah. Anyway, Bobby.
I don't think anything at this point is going to get him back to 100% or a place where it's not going to flare up after a game. And Ime has talked about it too. He's good once he stops playing. It's just once he plays again, it flares up and they got to deal with the pain and the swelling and all that different kind of stuff. So no amount of time.
The best thing is the days off between. The best thing is the between. No, the gaps. It's not, that we talked about it the other day. I don't think it's a 7-day gap would be any better than a 4-day gap. Mm-hmm. But I do think the 2 days off versus 1 day off between games 1 and 2, and then to game 3, that extra day actually is very big.
John, the other thing that really, it's going to sound kind of boomerish, but the fact that they have everybody has their own jets today, but that changes everything because he could stretch out, he can move around, and it's not like
they got a lot of room on that jet.
Flying commercial with you, Nick.
No, I fly with them, Jimmy. I have a pass. Yeah. That's why I'm here in Boston. Right. But that helps too, and you don't have to deal with they're not using regular airports. There's just a lot more convenience factor when you're injured and you're thinking to worry about things stiffening up.
Imagine Rob on Spirit, knees in his face. That would
Spirit.
be,
You look good on Spirit, Bobby. You're the Spirit man. You know all the rules and regulations.
But it's just the altitude.
Yeah.
It's just, flying
Well,
what it does to you and all that stuff.
I don't know what it is. It just might have been the content I was stumbling on today. Just a lot of kind of series predictions, series questions sort of stuff that I was reading. But I felt like everybody was kind of counting on Game 7 Rob instead of, effective Rob, meaning a guy who's like, meaning Rob's, is he better to have him there, just in case? Sure. But do you have the guy that can, guard in space and defend the perimeter and is going to be able to go out there and close out and work on switches and be effective against, smaller, more explosive players? And I kind of feel like everyone's thinking no. So, that's the whole problem with Rob is to get the full potential, he's really got to be closer to 100% than he is. And I don't think he's even close. So I just think you're going to get what you get. There's a dog.
I'm sorry.
And I just don't know. Dogs are fine. Dogs are accepted. We like dogs. I just don't think you're going to get the full.
Okay.
I don't think you're going to get the full Rob here. I don't think you even come close to getting.
And I think
Rob
we all
experience.
agree that if the full Rob was out there, the Celtics would probably be favorites in the series. He's such a swing factor in that way. But the good thing is you can take what he gives you and other guys can step up and you're still competitive here. The Celtics have effectively been without Rob this whole postseason run, haven't they? In and out, limited, off the bench in the Brooklyn series, replaced by Grant and Horford for much of the second round into the third. So Rob's a luxury. I think Ime's described him in this way before, right? When he's out there, it's the cherry on top, and you're going to be the best team in the league. If he's not there, you still got a championship framework here. You still have enough to win this series. It's just managing the Rob minutes and putting him in the place where he can most help you. I think the tail end of that Miami series actually handled it pretty well. Starting him, having that group of starters out there that's dominant defensively, rotating in Grant pretty quickly if Rob tails off at all, and then all of a sudden you're going small the rest of the way. And that's
you're
what you're going to
playing
have to do in this Warrior
seven-man
series anyway. Yeah.
Well, yes and no.
It
So
makes it
that's
so much more difficult. I mean, if Grant, speaking of Grant, he needs to have a 180-degree swing in his series here. If you're going to get by without Rob minutes, or if Rob's not going to really be a factor at all, then Grant needs to be, because I know people keep saying Tice.
Yeah.
And maybe Tice will make an appearance. Who knows? I don't know. If he does, hopefully he can contribute in some way. But Grant definitely exactly, and Grant needs to be the guy that's going to fill those minutes, not Tice. So again, I'm still holding out hope that I'm a little bit more optimistic than John is. I'm not saying that Rob, you're going to get 85% Rob Williams for every single game, but I think you will have bits and pieces of this series and in these games where Rob does look like Rob, and that doesn't mean you're going to get 35 or 40 minutes of it. But if you can get 20 minutes of Rob, or 20 to 25 minutes, and he's effective, I think that's enough to get the job done. I really do.
Fair enough. So, Rob, we can talk about it. It's all a matter of seeing him, seeing which version of Rob you get. The thing is, I don't know that you even know early, because we've seen him start okay, and then that thing just starts to get a little goofy, and then that's it. You can watch him power down as the game goes on. So again, I think what Bobby said is probably the best thing in terms of the gravy. Here is whatever you get, and you're happy about it. What's interesting here, and again, Bobby, I don't know how much you've dug deeper into the matchups, and we'll get into some questions later. But the more I was looking at it here, I do wonder if Golden State's going to have more. The one good thing about the Celtics that I think is the best thing is every team that they play has a lineup that's good offensively but hurts them defensively, or good defensively but hurts them offensively. The Celtics don't have that. They just have 7 or 8 guys that all play, and they're all good at defense, and they're also the best offensive players that they have. It's not like you've got the Duncan Robinson or the hero type guy that you're trying to hide, The Golden State doesn't have that. Golden State has that. You've got Curry. You've got their best offensive lineup is Curry, Draymond, Poole, and Clay. But you're going to have 2 guys out there that are horrible defensively that the Celtics can hunt mismatches. So when they want offense, they have to go to a lineup that's potentially scary. If they want defense, they're going to go to a lineup that's going to have a hard time scoring, because you can really key on their shooters and defend the perimeter the way the Celtics do and make life difficult for them. So I am kind of interested here if Golden State's the one that's more trying to figure out what kind of lineup to play against the Celtics instead of the other way around.
Yeah, I think it's underrated how big of a problem this matchup is for the Warriors. There's so much size on the Boston end, so much physicality.
Even
on the
small
perimeter.
is big for Boston. That's the thing. When they go small, they're big because your point guards and your guards are 6'4" and physical. Mm-hmm. So their small ball lineup is too big for Golden State.
That's why Rob not being there is a little.
Yeah,
it takes away a little bit of the pain of not having Rob, I think, because you're going to see less paint play. They're smaller.
Yeah.
And if I'm Golden State, I'm running Klay Thompson off of every screen. I mean, if I'm Boston, I'm running him off screens. I'm running him into everybody. He's struggled defensively since he's been back, and the dude has been going. He's got to, at some point, you got to exploit the fact that he doesn't defend like he used to. And I think the injury, too, as well.
Clay's going to try, but he's not the same guy. And then again, Curry and Poole, if they're both out there and Golden State's looking for offense, that's a lineup you can exploit.
What about Peyton?
And if you right. Go ahead, Bobby.
It's got to be the same formula they used against all three of their opponents, frankly. Hunting, getting downhill, and tiring out the stars. They got to be sending bodies at Curry to not only wear out him with their defense, but attack him on the offensive end. As you talked about, Nick, right there. Get these guys going through screens, good screens. Get them in mismatches in the post. Send Tatum downhill at them. Smart's good at that stuff. There's a ton of offensive weapons that the Celtics have that they can use to put these guys into actions and really exploit the fact, as John said there, that they're going to want to go small. They're going to want to play three guards. That's going to be hard to do against the Celtics, and the Celtics have to make them pay. Really, here's the flip side, though. This is the big weakness for Boston coming in. There's a lot of guys on the Golden State side that can rush the ball handlers, make Boston turn the ball over, and make them frantic offensively so that they're not able to even get into those sets. And I think the book's kind of out on the Celtics when it comes to that. Gary Payton's going to be key in this series, coming back from his injury. He's a disruptor, and him and Green, they're going to go at Tatum and Brown at the point of attack and try to make them turn the ball over, rush, play in a crowd. The Warriors, as small as they are, they're right there with the Celtics defensively. These are the two best defenses in the league going out in the finals for the first time, I think, since '96. I heard earlier today.
The Bulls and the Sonics, I think.
Yeah. So
Supersonics.
As undermanned as the Warriors look on the defensive end, when you think about Curry and Klay and some of the guys that might seem weaker on that end, as a collective, when you think about what Green does and some of the bench guys who are really good defenders, they have options to throw at Tatum and Brown. And just like we say, the Celtics will have a tough time, or the Warriors will have a tough time keeping up with Boston's size. The Celtics might have a tough time getting into their offense against Golden State. So there's a tit for tat in this series that's really fun to think about.
You're probably going to think I'm crazy, but I'm going to go all Tommy on you guys. Like, I would run, attack the paint, run, don't get in a three-point shooting competition, and just run them. I mean, I know that they play well. I know no one logged more miles than Steph, meaning he, in the course of a game, he can hit he could touch so many miles in the way that he moves. But I'm running them and I'm attacking the paint off the break. Because if they start getting into a 3-point shootout with these guys, it will be over.
Oh, it's over. Yeah.
In 4. Because they're so bad. I don't want it to go all boomer rage, but they're so bad when they're bad that I don't have to say this. It affects everything, and I just don't want to even see them shoot threes. If I'm Ime,
they're bad when they're shuttling. When they're settling, when they're rushing, when they're hectic offensively, they're the worst versions of themselves, and you worry about them getting back into it in this series.
But what's interesting is Golden State's a sloppy mess too, and they're a frustrating team to watch for Golden State. They go through stretches where they can't score. They throw the ball away. They're very careless. They do. But they also, like I said, I think we have two things. The mystique of what Golden State was versus what they are, and they're still a very good team, plus seeing the Sports Center highlights version of the Golden State Warriors, which is like splash, 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 wow, and not recognizing there are times where they do have droughts. And again, it's still – they had a relatively easy road. They still have the highest offensive rating of every team in the playoffs, and they had the second highest defensive rating during the regular season. They probably would have been the highest if Draymond doesn't get hurt. So obviously they're good, But
Steph
we're
didn't
gonna get
shoot
into
well.
we're gonna get into that matchup in a second. Everyone's wondering like where the boomer rage is. Well, the one thing we can do to stave off boomer rage, at least in the early parts of this series, is of course calm, right? One of
right,
our
baby.
sponsors here. Yes, exactly. Why do you think Nick is so docile right now and so mellow and there's no boomer rage? It's calm, baby.
It's only calm.com/garden. It's nothing else.
It's calm.
Nothing
It's
else.
calm. The energy has changed because of calm. Okay.
John
The
has
energy has
prescribed me
shifted.
calm, and it's
Yes.
worked.
It's
Like
worked.
The energy
cowbell.
has shifted.
The energy has shifted. So if we do know trying something new can be intimidating. Meditation, something you hear about, you don't really do. But please check out Calm. Helps you feel at ease from the moment you start, and we'll all vouch for that. It's legit. How you've been caring for yourself lately. Whatever it is you're doing, going on strolls, midday naps, whatever it is, pair that with Calm and take your wellness to the next level. As we said, we can vouch for a lot of these things, whether it's imaginative sleep stories, which they have for children and adults, curated music tracks, guided meditations that help you improve focus. All of this is designed to relax your body and uplift your mind. So you see it on the screen. Go to it, my friends. Calm.com/garden. Special offer, 40% off a premium subscription. It's a great deal. It's well worth it. Over 100 million people around the world use the Calm app to take care of their minds. You should too. Once again, calm.com/garden, 40% off a premium subscription. Go get yourself some.
And I
You know what,
am
you're
the proof. I am
you're
the
gonna
proof
need
of
it.
performance.
You're
here.
gonna need it though tomorrow night when the game ends at 11:30. Win or lose, you're gonna be fired up one way or the other.
It's good to be on the
After-
California side of that.
After our show,
You're
anyways,
right.
you're gonna need Calm. You want to go straight to our show and then fire up Calm. Yeah,
After
Bobby, you're
game
lucky, man.
You are
don't
so
have the,
lucky. We'd be
you don't have
3
the,
a.m. nights at the Garden.
You don't have jet
Well,
lag or
those will
anything, yet,
come.
Bob? Anything like that? No, I guess it's reverse.
No, going out west is easier. Yeah, you
Yeah.
get the extra sleep. So I'm
Yeah, you
feeling
look
good
really
today.
refreshed. You're glowing. You
Oh,
look fresh.
I had the robe on last night, Marcus style. It
Like
was
Jared
it was
Weiss style.
comfortable.
Jared
Yeah.
Weiss style. You had the robe on. You look like Hugh Hefner, a young version.
I love it. It feels like fall out here too. I've never been to this city before. My
it's a
Saturday
great
starts
city.
born and stuff, but the Warriors staff, great. Maybe best PR staff in the world.
Hey,
Really welcoming.
don't say that.
Hey.
Hey, we
They've
don't
been
talk
great.
about the other team staff.
They are pretty cool, though.
They're really good.
They are. So we're going to get into some questions about the finals here, and we're going to ultimately build up towards our prediction. But we were talking about this a little bit, so I'll throw this first one out to the group as we break down some of our kind of pressing questions as we enter the NBA finals. Number one thing, what is more dominant, the Celtics defense or the Warriors offense?
Celtics.
What's
it's the
what's the
Celtics
more
defense.
dominant
are we
force?
picking in order? Are we going in any sort of order here? Or are we just gonna?
Yeah.
I want Jimmy to go first because he didn't get a bite at the apple last time.
Okay, this is a trick question. I always say, I guess I have to stick with it. I always say that great offense beats great defense. I always say that. So I would be kind of hypocritical, I think, if I picked the Celtics here. I love the Celtics defense. Don't get me wrong. I'll probably take some heat for this, but I'm just going to go with Warriors offense because, man, when they get hot, they just get hot, and it's tough to slow them down. If everyone on their team is playing to their capacity,
There he is.
if everyone on their team is playing to their capacity, I think the Warriors are really, really difficult to contain. I don't care how good your defense is. So I'm going Warriors offense.
All right.
Final answer.
Nick.
I'm going to go the Celtics against the Celtics because I know they're going to shoot too many threes. I just know they're going to do it. So
Wait, what?
Did he understand
This isn't a question.
Did
Come
you even
on.
listen? Did you even
I
listen
would
to
say
the question?
the Celtics defense.
I put it on the screen.
The Celtics defense is more dominant than the Warriors offense, but
It probably is.
it is. No, I mean, I think that if you saw like throughout the playoffs so far, teams were kind of like role reversing and trying to emulate what Boston was doing, kind of repeat what Boston was doing. They were trying to do it to Tatum. So I also think the matchups. I think only Boston beats itself here.
But
really.
if it's a big if if Rob is not himself, that's a huge part of that defense. So the Warriors don't really have a big injury like that on the offensive end. Anyways, Bobby.
Again, though, they've done this without Rob the
Yes.
whole way. They've stopped Durant. They've slowed Giannis, grinded him to a halt by Game 7. You see what they did against Miami, the historically bad game 5s that they had. This
But
group, they have layers.
Miami's offense and Milwaukee's offense is not Golden State's offense.
But it's the same. This is the funny thing about this series. On the flip side, the Warriors' offense hasn't seen a great defense either. Dallas's didn't play well. You have Luka that you can go at there. Round 2, you face a young Grizzlies team. In round 1, they played Denver, who offered no resistance. So the Warriors' path has been pretty calm to this point. The Celtics, it's been grueling, and what they've done against some of the best players in the league with this defense, without Rob for a lot of these stretches, multiple lineups. I think they had 4 starting lineups in the East Finals against Miami. So they have layers that they can attack you with in this defense. And John brought up a lot of great points yesterday about how this is such a good Derek White series. Rob works well off of Green. Smart on Curry. You love that matchup. Yep. There's a million different matchups defensively for the Celtics here that make you think they can keep rolling. That's a tricky one. You always got to go back to Brown's defense. Just because all the off-ball movement, that's where Brown can get lost.
I don't like Brown getting lost there. Yeah.
I worry more about Brown not being able to dribble with his left hand than anything else. I mean, that dude is worse than Dr. J.
Brown was out here for a long time. The Celtics had left. He stayed behind.
Just dribble. Yeah, just do the dribbling drills. That's all we need. I'm going to answer this question. We'll move on to another one. I kind of am going to echo what a lot of people are saying here. I believe the Golden State's offense is really good, but not great. I believe the Celtics defense is great. I am with Jimmy also.
There we go.
Good offense.
Going on the defense train.
I am with Jimmy that I will take great. If it was great offense versus great defense, I'm taking offense all the time because it's the hardest thing to do. And I do
let
think.
Me flip that on you.
So I will say that
offense is going to be inconsistent. Defense is going to travel. It's going to be there night in and night out.
Not if the Celtics miss shots.
That's what's kept the Celtics alive. And through the worst of everything that they've done and all of the self-inflicted wounds that they have caused themselves, the one thing that's been a constant is baseball. No, I'm just kidding. The one thing that's been a constant throughout is their defense has kept them alive. So very seldom has a team just run away and hid, because their defense is always going to fight and claw back. And even if you're shooting super hot, you're eventually going to cool down, and the Celtics defense is going to bring you back down to earth, and they do it to everybody. And I think they can still do it to Golden State. I got a good stat on that, by the way. And I don't believe Golden State's defense is as good as the numbers. That's my opinion.
I got a good stat on that, John. Biggest deficit the Celtics have faced in this playoff so far. How big do you think it was?
26.
26. How'd you get that, Nick? How'd you know?
You guys don't think that I pay attention, but I do.
And before the East Finals, it was 17. These teams can't separate on Boston. We've talked about that a lot. And the defense is the big reason why. I'm glad we talked about this. I'm glad we talked about this topic, John, because we debated for a long time last year. Can you do it with defense? Is it offense or is it defense in this league? Well, here you go. 2 best defenses facing off in the finals here. This is going to be a grind of a series. As many stars as there are on both sides, as much flashiness as there is between Curry, Tatum, and the rest, this series is going to go into the mud. It is.
I just can't keep saying it enough. If they get in a 3-point shootout, the Warriors will win in 5 games. It's just because they're not going to consistently hit it. And if they complain to the refs constantly, I'm mainly talking about Jason here. I mean, like, Bobby, you're there. So I tried purposely, especially 6 and 7, to watch him off camera. It's hard when you're home, right? Because you can't really see. How many times does he not? I don't want to turn into a bitch fest, but I can't believe how often he doesn't get back on defense. So you guys, because he's too busy bitching. So you guys are all talking about D. It all is null and void if he gets frustrated and can't control himself. Jason, that is.
That happened in Milwaukee more than Miami, I think. But Milwaukee, there's been stretches in every series. Yeah, there's a poise issue with the Celtics team that's popped up here. Again, it's amazing they're here, given some of the deficits and bad losses they've faced. But after each one, they've won, and they've won handily in the face of those. And one thing I like about Tatum, and he's getting better with the ref stuff, getting better with the complaining,
and
he's
trying.
Frustration and the body language. He is trying. One thing I've loved that he said throughout this postseason, he goes, when I have a bad game, I'm frustrated for a minute. I go to bed, I wake up, and it's gone. I love the page,
dude,
just like that.
Bobby, I mean,
and he plays like it.
How about, I don't want to repeat everything you guys have been saying, but as drastic as the Celtics turnaround has been, Jason Tatum's interactions with the media and with people, human beings, has turned around so much too. I mean, seeing him from the Knicks Spurs portion of the season when he couldn't look up at the media to where he is now, it just shows a ton of maturity. So listen, no matter what happens,
It's a lot easier to be mature when things are going well.
Hey,
but they're
guys,
still
No,
getting
but things have
criticism.
gone bad,
guys,
Jimmy.
talk
They
amongst
have.
yourselves for
Bad at
30,
points.
30 seconds. I'll be right back.
That's my point,
Stay
Jimmy.
free.
They've run into a ton of adversity here. It hasn't been all rainbows and sunshine.
No, but
through the
they're winning.
playoffs.
Point is they're winning, Bobby. I'm comparing it to
losing
what
a
Nick's
ton too,
comparing
though.
it to. The point
They've
is
had some
overall,
devastating
No,
Bobby,
I can-
Bobby,
playoffs.
overall compared to November, October,
Jimmy's
November,
right.
and December compared to I don't know
Everything is
March,
solved
April,
by
May. Are
winning.
you trying to? I'm trying to compare the 2 times of the season, not game by
But
game.
in
Think
Bobby's
macro
defense,
here.
but in Bobby's, Jimmy, I do agree with you. But in Bobby's defense, that turnaround really started after his meltdown in post game versus the Spurs. For him, now he struggled still, but you could see. I think you could see that it was clicking. I'm talking about the one where he flipped out on John, Bobby, on Corrales.
Yeah.
That was his low point in my mind, at least in his relationship with the media. And I think that drove a lot of his struggles because it would get in his head. So, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, that was kind of the turning point because the next game they went out and they lost, but he was addressing you guys by name. And it was like, what? It was as if somebody talked to him overnight or something. Now, the other side of that is when you're talking about the Celtics defense or how they get where they are, we were saying, did you guys happen to see Ime's post-game speech to them after Game 7 to the team? You got to
No,
watch
I
it.
didn't.
Indulge us.
I mean, the speech was great, but I'm not going to go there. What was best was watching the faces of the players, not just looking at him like they admire the hell out of him, but like Al Horford was doing this as he was talking, like he wanted to. They just got done winning Game 7, and he wanted to go right to Game 1. So the amount of buy-in from these guys for the coach, and Bobby, you know, I've always been like Jimmy, you too, a body language guy. I mean, the amount of buy-in from these guys for Udoka is what will propel them. Who cares what happens this year? Look at what we have in the future in the next 2-3 seasons.
Can we talk about that quick? I know you got
No, I have like 7 questions lined up. We can't.
Yeah,
I know. I was shocked.
All right, let me just slip it in quick.
We can't talk about it. I got to keep it moving.
I think the Celtics have the better coach in this series. Side.
Oh!
No, I'll say that. I do too.
Okay, fine.
There's that.
All right, ready? You can loop this into your
I'm
answer.
with you, Bobby.
Maybe the X factor for the Celtics is actually Ime, but I'll ask you guys each.
Is it Ime?
Who is the Celtics X factor in the series?
It's a good question. You start, Jimmy.
I'm gonna go with Al Horford. How about that? I think Al's like the
Really?
definition. Yeah, I think he's like the definition of an X factor because he's not really seen by anybody as the star player or the superstar player. He's not seen as a guy coming off the bench. But if you get good Al, if you get the Al that you've been having, that oftentimes is the difference between a win and a loss. And there have been times where there have been stretches of the game where he has been the best player on the court. But I'm going with Al Horford because I think he's a huge, huge, huge reason why they're here. I'm not saying he's the most important player on the team. That's not what an X factor means. I'm saying that when he's on his game, when he's doing Al Horford things, when he's working the ball around, when he's playing defense, and they're going to need him on the defensive end because he's going to get assignments on Draymond. Not that Draymond is this, unbelievable offensive player, but he's going to have to switch on to guys. There's going to be a lot of switching all over the place in this series from the Celtics. And yeah, they're going to need guys on the board. So I'm going with my guy, Big Al. It's his, he's in the twilight, or he was supposed to be in the twilight of his career, and he's turned the clocks back here. I think he's got a lot to play for. I think he's going to come out fired up. And I think that if you get a engaged Al, which you will because he's always, been that way, at least this season, I think he's a good X factor for them. And then on the contrary, if you don't, then I think there's a huge void there. I really do. I think there's going to be a huge void there because you might not have the Rob Williams that you're looking for. So you need guys like Al to really kick it up a notch.
Al will show up, even if it's just grabbing 15 boards and not scoring. He'll show up. mean,
He's
that
the
guy's
rock,
on a
yeah.
mission
We'll
to
see how
show
effective he is.
Philadelphia.
We'll see. There have been some games where, the production wasn't right where it needs to be, but we know how the Celtics look when he's doing his thing. So that's my answer. Next.
I was going to say Ime. I was going to say Brown, but I'm going to go with Ime. I'm going to change my mind. And the reason being, he's got to but manage. Who am I to say this? But he and his coaching staff have to manage the entirety of the game. They cannot let offense slide and only focus on defense. They cannot allow for the poor execution down the stretch. To me, as much as that is a player issue, it's also a coaching issue because there is no way, unless they are completely ignoring him, that he's calling plays down the stretch. Did you hear Jalen? And it was Game 7. They give out trophies for everything now, Jimmy. I know you love it. Everybody gets a trophy, but look at his face. But listen, Game 7, Salters asks Jalen, "What happened down the stretch?" And he went, "I don't know. It just flowed out of his mouth." And I'm thinking, how is it that much of a mad scramble down the stretch and you poorly execute? What are you laughing at?
I love what he said after that last
I don't know.
Game 7. He was like, I saw the shot go up, and I was like, what the hell?
Well, yeah, I mean, and he was excited. I get it, but
Yeah.
you can't win a championship and not have composure down the stretch against the Golden State Warriors. They've been here. They've done that. So that my X factor is Ime. I think they can execute just about anything because they believe in him, but he's got to manage the challenges, the timeouts, and the offense better. And down the stretch, the play's deplorable.
Bobby?
He's walking a tightrope there. Yeah. For Ime, it's just about managing. For Kerr, it's just about managing the ship that's been cruising for 10 years. For Ime, he's got to have like the rope ready to pull whenever this thing gets out of control.
So, Jalen, what did we learn? Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Timeout.
What did we learn?
1 minute in.
What did we learn,
It is
Jalen?
funny, too.
Yes. Turnovers are
And
bad.
I'm going to tell you something. I
Yeah.
don't want to hear Jalen's bad on defense. If he's bad on defense, there's a problem with him.
Okay.
Or
Bobby,
it's a hamstring.
Bobby X Factor.
I'm going with Jalen. Yeah, this is the Jalen series. They're going to be all over Tatum. The connection there was lost through the late stages with Miami series. Jalen has to be available, reliable, and explosive because I don't think there's going to be much left over after the Warriors sell out on Tatum for them to be able to stop Brown. And Brown has had a great postseason from the field, incredibly reliable scorer, but can he piece everything together and have a full game?
Yep.
The defense, the playmaking. If he's a legit number 2, the way Klay Thompson can be 30 points, 50% three-point shooting, the high end of Klay Thompson, well, Brown has that high end too.
Yeah.
And between Curry and Tatum, the way both teams are selling each other out to stop those number 1s, it might be the better number 2 that decides this series.
Yep. So I'm gonna go. I think Rob is the obvious, but he's a wild card, and it's a semantic argument here. Wild card, X factor. What does it matter? Obviously, if he played and he was at full strength, I think he's the obvious X factor. But because it's such an unknown, I'm gonna go Marcus because he's healthy, and I think very clearly since the beginning of the turnaround all the way through the postseason, as Marcus goes, so go the Celtics. You can almost pin the losses on bad Marcus games, and not pin them is his responsibility. But every time they lose, you look at it, and he's got the Curry responsibility, but also Golden State's going to do everything in their power, regardless of who's on the court and which lineups that they play, to try to attack Tatum and Brown and make life difficult and blitz them and try to get the ball out of their hands. When they go small with that stupid little, with that multi-guard lineup, they like to drop sometimes into zones to, because they got to be a little cute. But they go into this 1-2-2 zone,
Celtics
because they don't have a big guy, but that's going to leave guys like Marcus open for corner threes and things like that. And when he's hitting them, that's a good thing. And at the end of the day, he is the Celtics' third scoring option, which means he actually has to score like it. Bobby's taking us for a little walk right now.
Bobby,
that's kind of cool. Here we go.
I like this.
Here we go. We're just going to walk. We're relocating.
I'm getting
very casual, hoping the
he
people
really owns that arena.
Hoping the people at home don't notice. But I'm going to go with
take the camera off.
I'm going to go with Marcus. While
the
Bobby,
reason, good answers, everybody. The reason I didn't go with Marcus or Brown because I think they're too important to be the X factor. Like I just feel like they're too good. Like obviously, if you don't get good Marcus and good Jalen,
Bobby, have you been ejected?
Poor Jimmy. He always cuts you off, Jimmy.
No, has Bobby been ejected?
I think he has been.
Bobby
Okay.
he muted his microphone, but he kept his
Look at him.
camera on.
No,
He's in the bowels of the Chase Center.
Just the easiest thing to do is just leave for a little.
Just go. Yeah.
Just go. Go ahead, Jimmy. It was distracting. All we were going to do was watch Bobby while you were talking.
I know. I don't know why he did that. Anyways, no, I said what I needed to say. I think that Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart are integral parts of this team to the point where neither one, in my eyes, are X factors. They're literally they're the reason you're going to win and lose. Yeah, exactly. So for me, an X factor is like, ooh, if he plays
Peyton Pritchard.
Capability. Yeah, I didn't want to go that far down the chart, but I think I found like the sweet spot of X factors. But yeah, Rob would have been an X factor in my eyes. I think some people probably think Derek White's an X factor because when he's kind of anchoring that second unit there, things are going.
That's a good one.
Yeah, running out of guys, Jimmy.
Yeah. And then lastly, Tice is probably my X factor. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's Bobby's.
Yeah.
Very good. Flip it to the Warriors. Do you have one for them? And we don't have to spend a million years on it.
Peyton.
You like Peyton?
Yeah.
Peyton and Wiggins. Why Peyton? Defense on Tatum and Brown?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he's going to frustrate them. I think it's something that who knows if they've been game planning. Now they are clearly. I think he brings that defensive, I'm searching for the word here. Intensity. And he's going to frustrate the hell out of Jason. That's the thing. I mean, if Jason has finally embraced passing the ball to the open man. So where Tatum or Brown and Smart become the X factor is, do they seek that shot? Marcus does, but Brown can often fade into nowhere land. If he's demanding the ball, when Tatum gets locked up and Brown's hitting that shot, then Peyton's not quite the factor.
Yeah. Jimmy, you went Wiggins?
I went Wiggins. I was going to go Wiggins or Poole. I mean, I just think that those guys give you a little bit more on the offensive end than Peyton does. Not saying that Peyton's not important. It's just that Wiggins is going to be tasked with some of the same things Nick just talked about, trying to slow down Brown, getting switched on Tatum, all those things. And then on top of that, he's expected to do a little bit more on the offensive end. So if they get a good Wiggins and, the other guys are falling into line on what they're typically producing, it's just a tough team, man. It's a deep team. Poole's another guy. I think maybe somebody will say Poole, but he's really come on.
Poole.
That's a guy that could have been a Celtic, could have been a lot of teams.
How long are we going to do
this?
Before Bobby
one
goes,
of those what if guys.
Before Bobby goes, I'm going to second the Wiggins thing. It is interesting. He's kind of a forgotten guy. He was starting all-star, team, which again was a little suspect. But at the end of the day, I mean, he's a guy who's
crazy to think about.
K-pop, I think, did that. Like
complete career revival. But I mean, most recently, and again, this is a guy who's a legit scoring option. If he starts getting it going from three as well, you've just got a lot of. It's just got a lot of things you have to
work. Man.
You have a lot of things, but he just put the clamps on Luka in that last series, for real. And so that's another guy who you're talking about that they have to contend with. That's a guy who's going to put up a good defensive effort. I don't know how they're going to match up. And again, I know Celtics are going to be trying to hunt for switches, but I mean, it's just another guy. They're going to be throwing Wiggins. They're going to be throwing Draymond out at those guys. As you said, Bobby, point of attack, really trying to make it difficult, get the ball out of their hands, make them make mistakes, get transition buckets, which is what they love to do. Wiggins plays a huge part in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have waves of guys that can hurt you, and there's a million different players on that team you can pick. The depth on that group is insane, and you even just watch them at practice today. The amount of guys that can hurt you there are many, and there's no bigger X factor with that team always than Draymond. I mean, this team loses round one, I think, if Draymond's not there. And we saw them play horrific basketball when he was out for the month or two there with the back injury. Engine defensively, can stop anyone, can play all the positions and guide that whole defense. And offensively, he's the one who's setting everything up with that screen and passing and all the activity that he does above the break there. Can you make him a 0 on offense? Can you somehow counter what he's doing defensively? If you do those two things, you're probably going to win the series if you're the Celtics. But if you get the best version of Draymond, it's going to be hard to win. Because that guy, it's like the great defenders ever. Yeah, the great defenders ever. He's up there with them. And
he is going to give us fuel on that side of the ball. He'll give us content for months with the boneheaded things he says. I love it. I love him.
This is a good question from Dirk.
Yeah,
I'm going to throw it out there to interrupt the rest of our questions. If the Celtics get swept, is the season still a success?
Yes.
Yes, you broke through. Now, that's not saying they wouldn't be frustrating and they'd be deserving of criticism because, again, I don't think you're far enough behind the Warriors here where you should be getting swept or losing in 5. This should be a competitive series right down to the wire, and you should be in play to win it. But it's hard, like, that's a different question. It's obviously a disappointment, be a big disappointment, but this season's not a failure. It's already been a success just based off what they've accomplished so far. Yeah.
House money.
No, I don't say that, Nick. Those are two different things.
I
You got to
disagree.
take advantage of this opportunity, but the
I
season's
agree.
already been a success.
Disagree.
They've already succeeded in a million different things.
Disagree.
Do you want me to? Yeah, go ahead. Tell me why.
No, it's just that's the whole point is like I'm not a participation trophy guy. If you show that you are not even close to a title team, it didn't matter if you snuck by Miami or snuck by Milwaukee without Middleton. Like, it didn't matter if the team is truly no different than one that might have lost in round 2. It's not like you overcame all of these obstacles and just lost to a juggernaut. These teams are all quality teams. The reality is you might have caught some breaks along the way. And if you just get stomped, it means you're not really as close as you thought you were. So
I don't think they are.
A sweep would be a disaster, I think. And I do think that a sweep would raise a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Oh,
all right,
come
you make
on.
a good point there.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. You do. Listen, I'm the king of like old school, like you play to win. Da, 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 da. None of us, no one here has ever seen a turnaround like this. They were dead in the water.
Right,
guys.
but okay, so you're gonna give them credit for the way they started. You know what I mean? Listen, expectations.
No, but that's a carryover
expectations
from 3 years before this.
3 years
Expectations change throughout the season, and when those expectations change, that's when the barometer of success changes. So if you think this team is capable of winning a NBA championship, which a lot of people in this chat do, a lot of people on the show thought that they did, and I know a lot of fans do, and then they get swept, it's hard to say it's a quote-unquote success.
When you put it like that, I agree, yeah.
If you go back to the start of the season and I say, oh, well, I think that they're going to be a fringe playoff team, then yeah, they exceeded my expectations.
Guys, the chat isn't understanding this. Nobody here in this panel thinks the Celtics are getting swept. We are talking in hypotheticals. Everyone's got to chill. Everyone's got to take a little bit of.
For John to step in here.
Don't make me do a comm read again, guys. Okay, please take it easy.
Yeah, reading comprehension.
Well, that's
we're way too worked up.
It's right there.
It's a hypothetical.
Yeah, right.
That's
Relax. None of us. We're going to get to our predictions. Nobody here is predicting Golden State in 4. Trust me.
Nobody.
Okay, please.
Well,
anyway, it's not pessimism. It's a hypothetical, guys. Come on.
But guys,
everybody bring it down.
No, we don't have to acknowledge those people.
No, they were about to tear each other apart there.
I was watching it. There were fire coming from the.
People are
I felt threatened.
I was scared.
See, I don't like this.
Go, John.
I kind of agree with the chat, though. I don't like this question. It's
fine.
Dirk. You don't like tough questions. Questions that make you uncomfortable.
See you later, Dirk. You're right. Hypotheticals are whatever. It is an interesting one. Let's get to it if they go down 3-0, and then we'll start to discuss, is it a disaster? Right. And assuming that's not going to happen, we're not going to do that, and we'll just continue having fun, okay? Because that's what we do here. We have fun, all right?
Sometimes you have to face your fears, and that way, that's how you get over them. That's a little calm thing. They'll tell you.
But it's not happening.
Sometimes you have to just think about the worst case.
Here's my next question. The thing about the NBA Finals, going in is going to drive you friggin' bananas.
The threes.
The threes, the Celtics.
Nick has said that. So
yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah, all
guys.
the things we're used to, right?
Yeah, I mean, and watch them not get back. It's just so demoralizing as a fan. I can't imagine as a teammate to watch professional ball players sulk when they miss 3-point shots. Stop taking them. Just stop taking them. You're better.
I don't think I disagree with that. I think
I know you do.
No, I'm saying I don't view the Celtics taking threes as trying to counter Golden
No, I
State's
don't either.
threes.
I
I
don't
think
either.
if that's the best shot and you
take it.
and that's available, then you take it. Golden State's pretty loose about that sometimes. They'll kind of give you threes. You got to actually knock them down. I think it's super important. You do want to see them use their size advantage to get paint touches a little bit in here too. But I do think they're going to do a lot of kind of, drive to kick against this team, and that's the thing they're going to look to do. Yeah.
I'm fine with that. It's when they allow the miss. They're going to go. They're not a.
It's the settle for it early in the clock threes,
and it's the
or
sulking afterwards. It affects their whole game. I can't stand that.
Somebody wrote 9 p.m. starts. That's a good one, Jimmy. What do you got?
I'm gonna just go with Draymond Green. I think
I was almost gonna say, what's the non-Draymond Green thing that's gonna bother you the most?
Yeah,
but fair enough.
I love Draymond.
I mean, that Draymond Green. Listen, I know that he's an unbelievable player, but man, that guy can annoy the hell out of you. The way he plays sometimes, the things he says, he's gonna probably get a tech. He's gonna try to annoy the Celtics players. He's always playing chess out there, so that's gonna annoy the hell out of me. I was like, damn it, Draymond Green did it again, and I'm gonna be pissed. And I might just get sick of him at some point. So I'm going to go with Draymond Green. He's going to make me mad probably multiple times throughout this series.
Yeah, Bobby?
Oh, it's turnovers, man. We went through this every game against Miami. We were like, if they don't turn it over, they're going to win. And they're going to win going away. And they kept doing it. And nothing could solve it. Finally, Game 7 comes around, and I think it was such a big wake-up call that they cut it off early, and it didn't become a problem at all. And it just showed how easy it is with attention to detail, not throwing the ball all over the court and giving up possession after possession by just being sloppy. And I don't know what got into this team over the last couple of rounds here with it. I didn't feel like that was a huge issue for them during the year. I'm sure it popped up in spots, but they just couldn't hold on to the ball in certain spots over the last two series.
Or lead.
And the Warriors actually, again, comparing them to old Warriors teams, the transition numbers for the Warriors aren't that dominant this postseason. So they're not like a Milwaukee team where if you give the ball away, they're going to score. They might turn it over right back to you the other way. So it's not as big of a key in this series, but man, it drives you crazy. The Brown stuff. Smart getting loose with the ball, Tatum over dribbling, just all the ball control issues that they've had throughout the season at certain points.
That's composure
combined.
Yeah, for me, it's a tie between what I believe are going to be missed layups that turn into transition threes for Golden States that are absolutely going to break my nerve. I know we talk about turnovers, but the amount of smoked bunnies those guys had in that game against the Heat.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at this next comment. Sorry.
Still are just, that's something I can't purge. All the calm in the world can't get that thing out of my system. And you just see it going the other way with those transition threes. So that's definitely one of them. But the other one is going to bug me the most is like loose ball scramble, 23 seconds of defense, back rimmed prayer three, loose ball comes out. Draymond finds Curry and he buries one and turns to the crowd. And I'm going to die because it's going to happen a bunch at critical times with that sloppy.
So just general anxiety over Golden State.
Yeah, just Golden State being that team that they'll take that sliver that you'll give them. You'll do every single thing right. And one thing goes wrong. You're like, oh, no, grab it. And you don't grab the loose ball. And then it's in a shooter's hand and then bang. And they did it. Look, Golden State.
Mike Breen.
Yeah. That stuff. I'm already ready for it. And I'm like, my blood pressure's gone up from that. Cause like I said, is punch for punch, tit for tat. I think it's a pretty even series, even with the Celtics not maybe having a full rob. I actually think Golden State's in for a much bigger surprise than the Celtics are in. I don't think the Celtics are going to be shocked by what the Golden State does. I think
they've seen it all already.
I think Golden State's going to be like, holy crap, this defense is hard to play against. So I don't believe that. I actually believe it's going to be extremely competitive, but it's those little things.
Film. I think they'll be somewhat ready though.
Of course, but it's those little things that are going to drive me nuts. Here's the thing. Golden State's going to try to just be heroes for a lot of it. And there'll be games where the Celtics absolutely stomp on their necks. And Golden State is just jacking, threes all day long, and they're just not falling. And that's that. They lost a freaking game by 50 points, in the playoffs. So I mean, they can go
That was
bad.
unreal.
Yeah, they lost by 50 freaking points. So that's something that's in their DNA as well. Let's move on. We're
It was
going to
like
go
the way
bold
the Celtics
predictions. Now, this is not our finals prediction. We'll get to that in a minute. Bold predictions for the series. Who's got a good one?
I need to think of one first.
You got one there? That sounds like a you question.
Usually it would be. I really don't. I mean, because it's not the series prediction. I think that's kind of bold on my part. As far as, I mean, I honestly don't know what would be a bold prediction here. So, and I knew ahead of time he was asking that. That was the one I didn't prep for.
All right, let me fire one off here. How does Grant Williams Finals MVP sound?
I was
Sounds preposterous, actually.
Could you
Luke-
imagine if this guy gets thrust into the Cedric Maxwell, to shout you out, Nick, conversation? He gets that watch. He gets that resume. He gets that bold face on the resume for the rest of his life. Everyone, everywhere he goes, for the rest of his life, he's the Finals MVP. It's possible. If he hits 42% of his threes, he's guarding everyone on the perimeter. He's a
not
borderline
First of all,
starter.
Bobby, Grant
Bobby,
Williams
it's
is
not
no
happening.
Cedric Maxwell. First of all, buddy, let me just tell you that right now.
I agree.
Hey,
He is no Cedric
you have
Put
given
Maxwell.
him-
respect on Cedric's
let's say-
name, please.
Jimmy, hold on.
Bobby,
Let's say
stop
there was a
throwing.
round two. Let's say there was a round 2 MVP. Wouldn't he have won it?
No. He had one good.
He
He
went
had one outstanding.
He went
game.
7 for 18 in Game 7.
Yeah, and then the next game they mic'd him up and he acted like a complete buffoon. Did you
Well,
hear him
Doesn't matter.
mic'd up? You didn't because you were at the game. I mean, it was like, please stop talking, Grant. And I love
Well,
Grant.
I don't think one.
yes,
game
for my
gets
bold
him the
prediction.
MVP,
There it
Bobby.
is.
That was
All right.
bold.
Fine. That
What's
bold.
yours, John?
You want mine right now?
Yeah.
Does Jimmy have one or no?
You go. I'll go
I'm
after
thinking.
you.
I'm trying to save him.
You're trying to save them?
I'm trying to save Jimmy. I know he's still thinking.
Celtic,
No,
there's
you're not
there's
saving.
going to be the Celtics will have one buzzer beating victory in this series, and it's going to turn the tide of the series.
Who hits the shot?
Huh? I'm
Who-
torn between Tatum and Smart in a no,
Yeah, I
yes
could see
3. And so I haven't visualized the whole thing.
I got
But that
one
was
for
my
you.
bold prediction. Nick,
Tatum will have at least 3 triple doubles in this series. It could happen.
Really?
It could happen. You think about it. He's been on the top. What's his average? 28, 8, and 5. Right?
I don't know
Is
how
that
many.
his
How
average?
many does he have in his career? That'd probably be right around how many.
He has
in his
2, I
career.
think. I think he has 2.
Yeah.
But 28 in the Miami series, he averaged 28, 8, and 5. And I think if they're double, I mean, I'm not predicting it's going to happen, but it is kind of bold and it could happen.
okay?
If he's
Yeah.
Well,
passing
then
out,
we
the
might
other
be
guys are
talking about a
hitting, why not?
Celtics. If that's happening, we might be talking about a Celtics sweep.
Well,
I'm
I-
gonna say a Jalen Brown
I
50-point
came
game.
short of 4.
Jalen Brown 50-point game is my.
I like
bold.
that
I
one.
like that one.
Playing in California, a lot of friends and family in the area. We know we can get off the hot starts. He
Who?
gets off to a 20-point first quarter or something like that. Oh, this guy just out bolded me.
He just
I just
stole your
don't-
4
thunder.
50-point games.
Yeah,
Five.
4. Let me change mine now. Let me change mine.
No.
I thought it was bold. I guess I'm just a little B after all. I wasn't bold enough.
How about this one?
Wow.
Oh, yeah, no.
That might happen
Deuce
before
does,
Bobby's.
Deuce does.
That might be less bold than Bobby's bold.
Here's
prediction.
bold. Deuce will not be on camera until they win after Game 7 when Tatum's at the podium.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
He already lost.
Here's
He already
not so bold. You see 5 times more Deuce than you see Neesmith.
There you go. That's about right.
Yeah.
That is true, though. I mean, really. I mean,
More
they
likely
should
to be
really
in the
introduce
closing
Deuce.
line.
I almost went
Sure.
with Aaron Neesmith does something as my bold prediction.
Anything.
And you were like,
Anything.
don't snap out of it.
I was gonna go there. Aaron Neesmith does something. Speaking of which, we were talking about the 50 pieces, so let's throw it out here. Which star player shines the brightest of all of the guys? You've got Clay, you've got Jalen, you've got Tatum, you've got obviously Steph. Who is going to be the guy who's going to, when the series is over, they'll be like, that was the guy, man.
I'll go. I know my bold prediction was Jalen, but I still think Tatum runs the show. I'm gonna go with Tatum as I think he's gonna really step. Like he's going to open a lot of eyes on a national scale in this series. I mean, everyone in Boston knows what he's all about, and I know he's first team NBA, but that's more of like diehard NBA fans know Tatum more than his popularity on a national scale. So he needs a few games of just playing his game, and I think he's going to really open some eyes up. So I'm going to go with Tatum. Everyone knows. The thing is, everyone knows everyone on the Warriors, you know. So like, how much brighter can Steph Curry shine? I know he's had some relatively mediocre finals performances, so maybe this is the one where it's not the case. But I just think, you know, Tatum has every reason to be the brightest star, I think, in this series. So I'm going to go with him.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are going Tatum,
yeah.
Bobby, Nick?
Yes, absolutely.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so here we go. We are here.
We need those around the horn noises we need as you're doing this. You know, reality noises.
We're our own show.
That's true. Sorry.
Screw those guys.
Yeah, we know what we're doing here.
Yeah. Sorry, bad comparison.
No, it's all good. I'm just trying to find it.
The chat is in rare form tonight. I am shocked it took John 40 minutes for him to unleash on the chat room, because they have been in rare form tonight. I will say that.
No, I mean, I think I know what everybody's doing. Like, they don't want. I'm with it. Dirk might have led us astray. I get that.
Yeah,
that
they
one.
Want bad vibes. They didn't want bad vibes. They didn't want bad vibes.
They didn't want any bad vibes beforehand, and we were talking about that. Is our blood's not up right now? It's a clean slate. That was my favorite thing about this series. Is you don't have to worry about Miami because it doesn't really matter. Whatever happened. So that's it. That's it. Here we go. What do you think?
Got it.
Finals prediction. We're here. I'm going to start with Nick. Who is going to win, and in how many games?
Let me preface this with, I don't want it to happen before the chat room flips the hell out. But I say Warriors in 6 at the Garden. It'll be the second team ever to win. Second team ever to win at the Garden.
That's morbid, dude.
What?
That's morbid.
At the end of the day, we cannot put any predictions to this team because they're so unpredictable. And the playoffs is the definition of it. They didn't lose 2 games in a row, but they also didn't put, I don't know if they put 2 good games together in a row since the Brooklyn series. And Golden State, no matter what, it's like the old school teams, like the Celtics and the Pistons. You knew the Celtics were going to win until they didn't win anymore. And Boston's not at that point yet. This is their first time in the finals, and I think they have plenty of times ahead of them. But this series today, too many. If I heard John one more time, or Jimmy this year, say the bad version of them or the bad habits creep back up, it can't happen in this series. Not once. They're going to make you pay. They've been here, they've done it, and they're not intimidated by the Celtics. And the Celtics are in awe of them. You could see it. You heard it in Tatum's media avail today. He was in 8th grade when Steph won his first title. I mean, there's a little bit there. And then I also get very, very concerned about all the media hype. This team is notorious for buying into their own hype. And I'm afraid of that too.
That worries me a little. Just a little.
Week worth.
Just a little.
Yeah. So, I don't want to be the downer. I don't want to be the
teeny bit.
Downer. I don't want to be the downer, but I'm going to shoot you straight if you're going to ask me. And I don't want it to happen. But I think that Boston is going to complain one too many times to the ref, take one too many threes that weren't good threes, and make some fatal errors where Golden State will capitalize.
Let's go with Jimmy.
I hope I'm wrong.
So I've been thinking about this for a long time, not just when the Celtics won to advance. I was kind of envisioning this NBA Finals matchup for a bit now. And I've gone back and forth on it. I took the Celtics against the Nets. They won handily. I took the Celtics against the Bucks in 7. They won in 7. I took the Celtics against the Heat in 6 because John bullied me out of 7, but I really wanted to take them in 7. And every time I said, I love how the Celtics are playing. I love their fight. I love their compete level. I love that they're playing as a team. They're a completely different team than the one that started the season than they are now. and I said I'm going to ride it with the Celtics until they prove me wrong, and I'm going to go down with the ship if I have to. Well, boys, we're still sailing, and I'm ready to go down with the ship. Celtics in 7. I got the Celtics in 7. I like what I see. I think the defense is going to step up. I think offense beats defense, but I don't know if the Warriors are that offense anymore. The Celtics are that defense. And the Celtics, when they play solid defense or strong defense, and their offense isn't quite there, eventually it comes around, and that's usually enough for them to claw back in it and for them to take a W. Now, the one thing I'll say is this. You can't go on like first quarter or first half lulls. You can't go down 20-plus points to the Warriors and expect to come back. You got to keep it close. You got to play 48 minutes. You got to go to work. You got to show up on time, and you got to stay late. You got to bring your hard hats. You got to bring your lunch pails, and you got to tie those steel toe boots, and you got to play for 7 games because I think that's what's going to take. So I got Celtics in 7. I don't think home court really matters. I think they can go to San Francisco. Sorry, San Francisco. You don't really scare me. I think they can go to San Francisco and win a game there if they need to. So I'm taking Celtics in 7, and we're just gonna keep it going. See what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow I may be feeling really good or really bad about the prediction, but I'm going.
Bobby,
Celtics.
I like it, Jimmy. We should have ended with you, but Bobby.
Yeah, I'm following that. There's two things.
This will change 10 times. Look at Jimmy.
No. I changed once in the Bucks series after one of the most.
It's on tape, Bobby.
Yes, they allowed
your head appears on the screen, and you make this.
This comment is great.
They allowed a free throw. It's really ridiculous that this is still a criticism. They allowed a free throw offensive rebound, blowing a 14-point fourth quarter lead at home, going to Milwaukee against the defending champs. And everyone's stunned that I changed my mind. Man, going into that
series.
The pendulum swings.
3 times that series.
It happened once after.
And once 5. The series before.
All right, let him get his prediction in, fellas. Come on.
I think I've been right these playoffs more than anyone.
Because you guess both sides, all series, every series.
How could you be wrong?
Yeah, how could you be wrong, man?
You've picked both teams every series. You can't smoke here.
I remember what I be smoking in my apartment. Put that out.
My Nets take was weeks in the making before that. I had Celtics in 7 against the Bucks, and then I think it was Celtics in 5 against the Heat. So that ended up being harder than I thought it would be. But here, there's 2 things I like. I don't think the Warriors have faced any team nearly as tough as the Celtics on their run.
Co-sign this comment. Chat deserves a ring. Go ahead, Bobby.
I think the Celtics have seen the toughest team that they played so far, which was the Bucks. Because you had an absolute menace in Giannis that you had to account for. I don't think there's any singular matchup issue that you have on the Golden State side that's as overwhelming, even considering Curry's greatness. I'd take Giannis over Curry right now. So that's going in your favor. You have the defense, which I think is a rock game in and game out that you can lean on. You have size, you have scoring to chase the Golden State Warriors if needed, and you have a great transition game that can set a tone if you're piling up stops. I think the physicality of this series is going to catch up to the Warriors fast. Wow. I think the amount that the Celtics are going to send big wings at their smaller guards on defense is going to hurt them the way it did Kyrie, the way it did Durant. They can spread it out more offensively, so it's going to go right down to the wire. They're going to have a comeback win that I'm sure is just going to look devastating, much like some bad losses that they had over the last 2 rounds here. But the Celtics have bounced back from everything. I mean, 7-0 after losses is insane. Jimmy mentioned the road success of this team. 7 wins before the finals is the most ever by a team, or tied for most ever by a team. But
ever by teams.
I mean, that's road success. It's almost
it's a valuable stat. It's a valuable stat.
And they won a road game 7. They won a home game 7. They've done it all. They've seen everything. This isn't going to be any different. This isn't the old Warriors. Again, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, and there's going to be some shocking moments in this series that it really challenge them, and all the frustrating tendencies that we talk about with the Celtics are going to carry over. But I think back to 08, Nick. They got brought to 7 a couple times. It wasn't easy.
Mhm,
They hit a
mhm,
wall a few times. They had a huge deficit against the Lakers that they had to
You
overcome.
couldn't win on the
When
road
we
either.
talk
But that
about
team's
all,
mental toughness was never in question. I think what was in
well,
question. What was in
This
question?
is the longest non-prediction
what
in the
about this team?
history
7-0
of
after
mankind.
losses.
Yeah, what is the prediction? First of all, I want to say
I'm lost.
I feel better about my prediction after Bobby going because he kind of said everything I was feeling without actually saying it. But Bobby, finish up.
What did Bobby predict in this? What do you say?
Celtics,
Give us the
Celtics-
pick, dude.
Yeah.
Celtics in 7. They're gonna win right here in San
Let's
Francisco.
go.
I
Let's
hope
go.
you're right.
John-
I hope you're right.
So
And John's gonna be there.
yeah.
John's
So let me
gonna be there.
maybe. So let me tell you this, guys.
And I'm
What,
gonna be there too,
Jimmy?
Nick.
What would be
John's where
the
I'm going.
in wrestling terms? What's the opposite of a heel turn? Like when a villain turns good.
Are you going there?
I'm just asking. Is there a term for it?
I don't know.
Because right now, I wish I had it. I would
Oh.
just pull my hard hat out of nowhere, plop it on my head, and go full Toscano right now.
Oh
But
my God.
look, I said
you
if the
wanna pick
Celtics.
Celtics though. You want
I
to.
said no. That's what I mean. It's the opposite of a heel turn. I'm the
This
good
is
guy
a
now.
championship team. Can't you feel it? Come on,
No.
John.
Literally, none of you guys understand what I'm saying right now. I'm saying I was the
What are you
bad
saying?
guy, and what's the opposite of going from bad
You're
guy
now
to
the good
good guy?
You're the good guy.
M. Night
You're the
Shyamalan
hero. You're
twist
the
here. M. Night
crossover.
Shyamalan.
So what I'm trying to say is I'm
Wow.
picking the
You're
Celtics,
transitioning?
Whoa.
but nobody's listening. And here's
Whoa.
why. I
Time
think
to
Golden
back.
State. I think Golden State is overrated.
Yes.
I think they're good, but I don't think they're great. I think they're beatable. I think the Celtics are going to bully them. I think the Celtics are going to assert their will. I think Boston's going to go in there and win game 1 and shock them.
I think that too.
They are, and I think they're going to go in and they're going to take game 1, and everyone's going to be
That's the
like,
game.
"Whoa!"
That's the
And
game.
Golden State's going to have to recalibrate a little bit. And yes, they're going to have one of their crazy shooting games. And yes, I'm even factoring in a Celtics absolute friggin' meltdown, blowing an 11-point lead with
there'll be one.
with 27 seconds left. And like, we will absolutely tear each other apart. And that's going to happen.
It'll be
But I
great
still
to
have
see.
the Celtics. I have the Celtics in 7 because they're going to shoot themselves in the foot and give away 2 games.
Mhm.
I think if they played it
Wow.
clean, they would win it. They would win it in fewer games.
So we're
It's
all
gonna
on
go
chip.
7 because they're gonna Miami this thing. They're gonna blow a couple that they should win, and it's gonna go 7, and they are gonna win it out there, and it's gonna be a party out in San Fran, and we're gonna have fun. So
Last
that's
time
where
they
I'm
won
going.
it in 7,
I'm
Bobby
hearing
was
the
there
chat.
and there was a shooting. Wasn't there in Milwaukee?
John, I'm seeing
It was
in the
like
chat that
wackadoo.
what you did is called turning face. That's
Turning
what
face. Thank you. That's
Ah.
the term I'm looking for.
you turning face.
You guys are like, oh, John, you're gonna be. No, I'm trying to tell you, I'm the good guy now.
because you
I'm the
said
good guy.
I wish I could, I wish I was, and then you
No,
actually,
I
And
said.
I want to make this clear. I hope I'm wrong, but
no, Nick, sorry, we're on the ship right now. We're still sailing the seas.
I'll be the villain.
Yeah, you're on a lifeboat somewhere, begging for us to pull you back up. Begging for you.
I'll wait till they are going to win game 1. Game 1 is set up for game 1 is set up for them
Dear
to win.
diary.
I don't want you to think I'm a doomer boomer, Dave. Man, I'm always in the plus here.
What's funny is as soon as we end this show, I'm going to text you guys my real pick, which is Warriors in 5.
Me
No, I'm just
too.
kidding.
Yeah,
I'm just
you
kidding.
Me
I
too. No,
I am going with the Celtics. I am going with the
We're all on
Celtics. It's
record.
real.
We're all on record here. We need to get Joe Sway's. We gotta do Joe Sway phone. a friend.
Nick's new nickname is the Doomer Boomer. That's it.
Doomer takes. Doomer boomer takes.
That's all.
Listen, there's nothing wrong.
I am
It's the
pretty
NBA
much-
Finals.
The Doomer
Everyone-
Boomer.
And people are gonna call us homers and stupid stuff. There are a lot of reasons to actually believe that the Celtics are gonna win this series.
Sure
Like
there
if for those, I hate to
Brew,
use
I
the
like
word,
it.
but if you think the Celtics are just gonna roll over and die, you're a casual.
It should be
You just haven't been
even.
watching the NBA.
It should be
Never go-
even. I was
You
kinda
never go
stunned
full
seeing the-
Toscano.
No, facts.
I was kind of
Bobby's
stunned
still
seeing
talking.
the full. I was stunned seeing the.
Bobby
full
still
slate
hasn't
of
given his
Warriors
prediction. I'm
predictions.
sorry. Go ahead,
You
Bobby.
just changed it to Golden State.
Yeah.
I was.
And the ball
I
is
was
tipped
kinda-
up, and we're underway here in San Francisco. And Bobby's
I
like,
was
and
stu-
that's why I think that the Celtics are gonna win.
Go ahead.
I'm just stunned the full slate of Warriors predictions that are out there. And to your overrated point, John, I think outside of Boston, everyone in the world probably thinks the Warriors are going to win this just because of the past. But things have
Casual.
changed. The Celtics have gone through a lot, battle-tested, match up well. I think there's a lot of reason for the Warriors to worry about this series. And to your point, John, you made a lot of good ones. I just don't think they feel it yet. You got Green saying, "Oh, we got to watch the Rob Lob," and
they're
we gotta
being
watch out for
nice,
these
but they're not
guys."
ready
Yeah.
to. They're going to get punched in the mouth, and it's going to be a little bit
Game one.
surprising.
Yeah,
Gotta be
exactly.
game
Yeah.
one.
They're
And when
almost,
they
like,
wake
they're
up
almost like
perfectly.
patting
Hey.
the Celtics on the head, like, "Oh, look at these guys, the young guys at first time. They're so good. They deserve to be here." Yeah. And then they're
Real
just gonna get punched.
Real quick, shameless plug. I want to thank this commenter, new sub. If you're out there and you're watching for the first time, or you've been watching, and for some reason, God, I don't know why, you've yet to subscribe. Please subscribe. Subscribe, like,
Ring the
comment,
bell.
share your friends, ring the bell, turn on the notifications. You'll be notified when we go live. We do this all the time. This is what we do, okay? We're going to be
Not
going
missed
live.
one game in
What
3
we do.
years.
We haven't missed a game in 3 years, guys. We're going live throughout the finals. Every night there's going to be some form of show here.
Do it
And
live.
obviously starting tomorrow with a post-game show that we expect packed. So again, you
Packed.
want to hang out with us,
Record
you want to
numbers
chat.
tomorrow. We're gonna break a record tomorrow.
As much fun as we like to have, the chat is fun. As obvious that you guys all kind of, dig the conversation. You like to hang out. Chat is great. Our Discord channel is a great place to head over. If you haven't done that and you want to check it out, go to our Discord channel.
I
And
may give out the rage there tonight.
you're going for it?
Doomer rage, yeah.
Okay.
I may do it. I may go
Yeah,
for the
we
dive.
can do it. Discord right here.
Yeah.
I think it's on the screen. There it is. CLNSmedia.com/Discord. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our Celtics All Access YouTube
Follow
channel.
on
We're
Twitter.
flooded it with content today. A ton of stuff from the finals, and it's still coming. Bobby Manning's got a bunch of stuff. He was out at NBA Media Day all day. Great content you can get there. It's not live, but it's terrific stuff. So make sure you do that. Follow us on Twitter. All of our handles are up here on the screen as well. If you want to give us a follow, by all means, we'll tell you when new stuff is coming and when we're about to go live. So again, definitely hang out. For those of you new to the party, welcome, and we hope to see you guys again as the this thing could go on 3 weeks here, so we could be doing this thing for a while.
Let's do it.
I'm getting sick of you guys. I need a little off season.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You'll be
Don't
in a
say that
week
yet,
after the
Jimmy.
off season. When are we doing our first free
Somebody-
agency show?
Somebody tell Nick I'm taking July off.
Take it, baby. You could take John for what you do. Take it all off. Don't
Take
take it all off. But take any day you want.
Take it
off.
off.
Especially when basketball, or just not in football or basketball. Unfortunately, we don't cover.
Jimmy
baseball.
knows this all too well. When we were at NBC together, the sports calendar is not very friendly to vacation time. There was basically like a little bit of time in March I could take, and then maybe July, and that's and only the first couple of weeks of July, because then Patriots training camp. So yeah, there's not
Take
a lot
the
of
time as much as you can when you can, because it's nonstop.
July 4th free agency called off
Hayward.
Nantucket for that
You almost got divorced.
Twice. Anyway,
trade, like a bunch of stuff. Yes,
all of that stuff. It never ends. But again, thank you guys. It's been awesome to have the people out there in the community, and it's really a great group. So we enjoy it, and we're just getting started on our finals run. Guys, final thoughts before we wrap it, and obviously we have a big post game show tomorrow.
Let's get it going. This is gonna be an all-timer. This is gonna be one of the great finals ever.
I just got to say,
such a Bobby.
I didn't see it coming. It's been 10 years. I feel like the Celtics are back in their rightful place, contending for a title. And I'm so fucking happy for that guy, Bobby Manning, who's out there after all the sacrificing he did this season. He's out there covering the biggest game on earth this weekend and for the next 2 weeks. So kill it, Bobby. Win or lose, we win.
I'm waiting to see that Bobby Manning finals drip. I know a lot of people are asking for it, so I hope he.
Bobby, I want you putting the Gatorade on Ime like they did with Doc. I want it to be you. That's going to be the meme if we win in Game 7.
I hope Bobby pressed his
That is
suit.
a good one.
I hope he presses suits. No, I mean my quick thoughts is this: like, let's go. I mean, this is what it's all about. 2 teams get to this point. There's so many ups and downs throughout the season. I know the fans are fired up. It's great for the fans to be in this position too, because last year, I've said it a few times, I couldn't have been more embarrassed to be, if I was a Celtics fan. It's one of the most embarrassing seasons in a long, long time, and really the last couple. So to be in the situation right now it's almost like a pinch yourself moment if you're a fan. So everybody, I just want you guys to enjoy it. Don't get too high or too low after game one. Just enjoy it. Go for the ride. Enjoy the trip as we're on right now.
Yeah.
By the way, Nick's happy for me. I'm thrilled for Ime. What an accomplishment. Year one.
because you guys are close. Yeah.
You guys are tight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Nick, you're the history guy. How many
you
coaches,
too, Bobby?
The first,
how many
I mean, this
coaches
is the
go to the
first.
finals their first year ever?
Well,
as a
in
coach?
Celtics history, it's Casey Jones, and that's it. Tommy didn't. Red didn't. Fitch didn't. Ford didn't.
All right. Save us the history.
So it was just Casey Jones and Ime Udoka. I mean, come on, guys. We knew who he was, but we didn't have a frigging. I mean, we didn't know
Casey in '84. Yep. Which is amazing.
Mhm.
So
This is amazing.
It was the right hire.
but again, the difference between KC is he had a
He had
terrific
Larry
team
Bird.
that just tuned out Bill Fitch the year before and a championship caliber team. Ime really turned something around here, and it's pretty
So-
good. And I know some of the same core, but it is impressive. So
Well, and one other thing too, John. Ime coaches the balls off it. KC let the smartest team
go
in
out there and
basketball
do
play.
stuff, guys.
Yeah, I mean, it was easy.
Right.
You're
For
good
the
at this.
most part. Yeah.
So that stuff's great. Again, we're back tomorrow, so please hang out, subscribe, do all of that good stuff. Bobby Manning's killing it already on day one. We got Josue Pavone heading out there as well tomorrow. Sharad's out there as well, so we'll be fully covered
Triple
in
team.
San Francisco, covering the game, and we'll be bringing you post-game stuff tomorrow as well as a bunch of other things. So again, stay with all our channels. There's content just all day long. CLNSmedia.com, CLNS All Access, our main YouTube channel, Discord server, Twitter, all over the place. A bunch of stuff going up on our Instagram as well. Check it all out. Thanks, guys. We will see you tomorrow night.
Go Seas.